Hello and welcome, Beloiters. My name is Lucy Borich-Gray, class of 1988 and Vice President of the Beloit College Alumni Association. On behalf of Board President Cameron Dieters and my fellow board members, we'd like to welcome you to this broadcast. Cameron is on his honeymoon in Greece right now, so I'm here to kick things off. I'm so glad you're joining us for this special unofficial Beloit College live stream, a celebration of the people, energy, and Beloit spirit that keep us connected no matter where we are in the world. Over the next 2 hours, we've got an incredible lineup of conversations that showcase the bold thinking and deep care that define Beloit. Here's a quick look at what's coming up. We'll start out with this welcome and opening remarks, followed by a one-on-one interview. Actually, it's two-on-one interview with President Eric Boynton, and you won't want to miss it to see what he has to say about the future of the college. Then we'll hear from the trailblazing heads of Beloit's new schools, Beth Doherty, Director of the School of Global and Public Service, Yip Fan, if I'm saying the name correctly, Director of School of Business, Rachel Bergstrom, Director of the School of Health Sciences, and Tanya Carey, Co-Chair of the School of Environmental Studies. After that, we'll catch up with Athletic Director Dave DeGeorge, fresh from the field, for an inside look at Beloit Athletics, past, present, and future. Later in the stream, we'll share a Giving Day appeal and status update with Tamara Fouché, Director of Development in Class of 2010, and Don Kent, Chair of the Advancement Committee on the Board of Trustees, and Tiffany Cipollone, Vice President of Advancement. And finally, we'll give you an advisory board update, including how to stay connected, how to join our WhatsApp group and volunteer with Alumni Advisory Board. And of course, we're going to welcome you and invite you back for Beloiter Days this fall. Throughout the stream, we invite you to introduce yourself in the chat, drop your name, class year, or connection to Beloit, and where you're tuning in from. I know that we have France already represented, so hopefully we'll go global. We love seeing the Beloit Network come alive. And just a reminder, Beloit's Day of Giving is tomorrow. We hope today builds excitement and momentum. Every gift, no matter the size, helps current and future students thrive. And if you're feeling inspired now, you're absolutely welcome to give early. Every bit makes a difference. So get comfy, grab your favorite snack or beverage, and settle in for an hour or two of Beloit Pride. Let's go, Bucks. I'm going to turn this over now to Kevin Stevens and Linda Materna, my fellow board members, and they are going to kick off our interview with our esteemed President, Eric Boynton. Over to you guys.
Kevin, you want to start things here?
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and thank you, Lucy, for the introduction. And I am Kevin Stevens, class of 87, currently serving as secretary for your Alumni Association Board of Directors. With me is Linda Materna. Say hello, Linda.
Hello, Linda.
Okay, thank you. And then also, of course, welcome President Eric Boynton. Greatly appreciate your taking the time to visit with us today. It has been a year since we spoke, you and I, in this format. We had a great conversation last year leading up to Giving Day. And at that time, you were starting some big balls rolling over there at Beloit. And what I'd like to do, we're going to have a couple questions for you, and then we'll talk for about 15, 20 minutes here. And then we'll leave the floor open to answer questions from the field, so to speak, if people do put some in. But certainly wanted to give you a chance. Our questions talk about what's going on in the bigger picture, how your leadership is approaching the current environment, and your vision. So if you'd like to, as it were, maybe a state of the college type conversation here quick, and then we'll open the floor to a few questions.
All right, Kevin, careful how big of a platform you give me to begin here, right? I can talk about everything.
We do have a mute button, so
at some point, just like stop, time out. No, I appreciate the introduction, Kevin, Linda, and everyone else. I appreciate you having me and on this forum, and this is wonderful to again be here as I was last year. And it seems like I'm in a few of these events, sometimes online, but it's always a joy, whether it's online or in person, to speak to alumni about what's happening on campus now. So it's a very exciting place. I'm actually speaking to you from within inside the powerhouse, and actually I couldn't get into this room like 2 minutes ago. And so I was ready to call an audible, and I was going to do it from outside with everyone eating around me, and probably the sound wouldn't have been good. So anyway, it's better a student found the right key to let me in the room. So here I am. But some of the exciting things that are taking place on campus actually have to do with space, since I'm right here in this powerhouse. You know, one of the things we did with the powerhouse, we opened it, of course, perfectly positioned. We opened it in February of 2020. If you remember that, Linda, Kevin, right? And we shut it down 2 weeks later, right? Because, of course, that was the grand opening, and then COVID hit. So the powerhouse has been this amazing space for a number of years, but it really has come into its own, I would say, starting January of this year. We moved Commons from Commons, which is right behind Linda right now. We moved Commons to the powerhouse. And so now there's just a cacophony of energy and dynamism taking place in the powerhouse, with everybody having their meal plan, breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the powerhouse. And so it's always filled with life and energy. And that's a part of a campus effort we've had for the last couple of years of bringing that kind of energy back to a residential campus after COVID, to revivify that kind of relationship with each other, with students. As you can imagine right now, that involves a lot of really interesting talk and work on food. So food is actually one of the things that students really care about immensely at the moment. And so I can tell you, and this is knock on some wood, but since the powerhouse has opened in January, not only have we received no complaints about the food, we actually, students go out of their way to talk about how good the food is in the powerhouse. Yeah.
Who knew?
Who knew? And I can say, based upon my unscientific survey of presidents of other campuses around the nation, that happens 0% of the time, right? So even there's an especially interesting student who I get along with great, who loves the college, but is also wants to be grumpy all the time. Remember those students back in the day? Even he, right, had to admit, doggone it, they got the powerhouse right with the food. So food, space, DK's is open. When DK's open back up in Pearson's at the beginning of the fall, just the people spilling back out on the lawn, enjoying the campus, phones in their pockets, face-to-face conversations with like a plate of food in front of them. It's that kind of environment that we're trying to inculcate. And of course, our new Dean of Students, Ron Watson, is a part of that kind of vibe and feel on campus. So that's part of it, right? It's investing in the campus spaces. It's investing in our curriculum through the development of schools. And it's the development of our ability to send students off campus in internships and fellowships and have those experiences brought back into the classroom space, where they understand the value of what happens in and outside the classroom. And the combination of two really is the way in which this small residential college really cooks. And then the other ways in which there's exciting things going on, and I'm sure we'll get into this conversation today, Kevin and Linda, but it's the kind of partnerships and networking that the college has been involved in over the last 18 months that expands the possibility for our students, that enriches and enhances the curriculum, that demonstrates that Beloit College is a place where you're going to come to enjoy each other, to be challenged and supported by this close connection to faculty. And at the same time, you're going to be prepared for what's next. You're going to be prepared for the jobs and the careers and the outcomes of the future. That those two things are not mutually exclusive. We've always done a tremendous job of preparing people for the future. And in fact, Beloit College has been the best kind of preparation for the world that students are currently inheriting, continues to be so. And we're just finding ways to demonstrate that in concrete ways again and again and again. So how about that for a 30,000 foot start?
I think that's good. So what I'm going to do, because you did mention the schools briefly, and we do have a broader conversation with the leaders of the schools coming up here. But if you could just draw the picture, because a lot of alumni do have questions about the relevance of schools, and it's destroying liberal arts and whatever Beloit stands for. But I know there's a very powerful meaning and reason for schools that has not only to do with serving our students, but also the competitive landscape. So if you could expound a little on that for us.
Yeah, no, that's great. So the first thing that I should say is to give my bona fides. So, I'm a recovering philosopher, for crying out loud, right? I'm a humanist at heart. One of the key values of a Beloit education is its liberal arts roots, its DNA, that this is the kind of college that prepares people to think critically, to communicate well, to collaborate productively, all in this effort to be intellectually flexible and agile. And that means also professionally agile and flexible. So all those kinds of experience, the breadth of learning across disciplines is still baked into this place. So we're organizing the curriculum, interesting enough, around schools. So a school of business, a school of health sciences, a school of media and the arts, a school of environment and sustainability, a school of global and public service. So those gathers the curriculum, and then we're able to talk about a small liberal arts college that's at the leading edge of a pragmatism, a practice of preparing people for their future. The best preparation for that future is ensuring that they have this combination of trajectories out into labor markets, out into careers, and a depth of learning that goes down deep into the soil of liberal arts. Those two things have to come together. That comes together in the schools that we've generated. The majors are still there. The majors are collected in schools. There's still a robust philosophy major here, and a minor, right? All that still is contained within the schools. We still develop those kind of learnings based in disciplines, but the disciplines are drawn together through these trajectories that lead out to a life that demonstrates to our students, who right now have a sober sensibility. And there's a rage out there to show me how this kind of education is going to help me find my feet when I graduate. Now, we have to support them and love on them and give them this transformational educational experience, and at the same time, like a loaded spring, launch them into their futures. And schools is a part of describing those two things happening simultaneously. And what I love about this call is that you're going to get a chance to talk to those faculty who are the directors of the schools. Now, they're the directors of the schools. They're also the faculty who developed the schools. This is from a ground up. This is a faculty, staff, student generated, right, way of thinking about the curriculum at Beloit College. This is not a top down. This is the recognition that what students are asking for, we're going to meet them, right? And we're going to find a way to gather ourselves together from a faculty stance, from a learning stance, and demonstrate that once again, Beloit College is the place you need to come if you want to find a future of vast creativity, of success, of overflowing possibilities, right? This is the place you got to come. Schools is a way of describing that to an outside audience that is asking, demanding, needing, wanting this recognition that there's a trajectory that leads out to my future. Does that make sense, Kevin?
That makes terrific sense. Can I ask a question? I'm thinking about what you're saying, and in my era with the Beloit plan,
yes,
in the 19th century, that was really the nature of the institution, and I'm really impressed with the way that has been developed to meet the needs and of the students today and the society at large. I'm wondering too, you have Impact Beloit, which is huge. In my era, it was, the town had nothing to do with the college. So I'm really happy with this. But I'm wondering, I got a couple questions from friends about a Northland College.
Yes.
And, if you can talk a little bit about what we're doing with the programs of Northland, I don't know, faculty, students. And then someone asked me, are there other opportunities in Wisconsin to get students to come to Beloit?
That's a great question. So, just the background for everything I'm describing, Linda, is right now, I mean, you know this is a challenging environment for higher ed in general.
I left higher ed a few years ago when it was bad, but not quite as bad.
Right. So we have a wonderful institution, 180 some years old, right? We're going to find a way to fight and win. But this is not a good time to go into a higher ed industry, right? If you're going to start a business, yeah, you might want to think about something different, right? So demography is working against us. Participation rates are working against us. So we've got to find a way, right? It's really about enrollment. And so the backstory of what I started out with is a lot of these efforts that we're engaging at Beloit is to move the needle on enrollment. And so part of moving the needle on enrollment is thinking differently about our partners and our competitors and our co-educators right in our region, but also nationally, I can get to later on in this call. And so Northland is an interesting example. So I can now speak more plainly about Northland. A year ago, when Northland announced that they were having financial troubles, they actually openly came out, this is a year ago, about March this time, they actually said, look, we need $12 million of infusion in order to keep the lights on for the next year. As soon as that happened, of course, you could imagine, right, a campus kind of in turmoil. So I immediately reached out to the president, and me and some of my board members and Northland president, some of their board members actually engaged in some high-level partnership thinking about mergers and acquisitions, but in a very creative way, Linda. How could we, this is a year ago, actually bring 200 to 300 Northland students down to Beloit College? We'd name it like the Northland Program in Environment and Sustainability because that's one of their true strengths, right? And we would bring faculty, we could bring some alumni. It'd be an interesting way to have Northland live on. That didn't happen for various reasons, and they decided to make one more go of it this year. Last year, they had 500 students. This year, they had 250 students. You can imagine once you announce something like that, it's hard to keep your students, right? Over the last year, Linda, I've been talking to the board chair about every 2 months, not knowing where it might go, but this kind of connection that I got with Northland. And so these conversations led me to gain knowledge about kind of Northland's situation. And so I again asked for some kind of creative way of thinking about Beloit and Northland. And what came out of it was that the board really could only agree on the fact that they couldn't continue. At that point, I went to my team. I thought, okay, how can we continue this idea of not allowing students of the Northland community just to scatter to the four winds? How could it be that there could be some cohort of students who would find their home at Beloit College, people who are entering into their senior year, who go to a campus who still has like 10 friends, right, that they've developed over the last 3 years? Wouldn't that be just amazing? And so we decided that one way we could do this was to hire their men's and women's hockey coaches. Ice hockey. We don't have ice hockey at Beloit. We have the capacity to support ice hockey. There's a bunch of rinks in the area. And so we decided, well, let's go ahead and pull complete and full teams from Northland down to Beloit. And so this past Saturday, we hired a bus, and a bus brought about 50 students from Northland down to campus, and they spent the day. The hockey coaches were here. So there's an infusion of between 50 and 70, because not all of them will be hockey players, the students will get from Northland. Between 50 and 70 hockey students from Northland that will be attending Beloit College in the fall because of this move.
What kind of students are they? I mean, what are they going to be studying? Do you have any sense of their profile in terms of harmonizing with the campus or bringing something new?
Yeah, so it's interesting. 3 things. I mean, one is that sustainability, environmental edge, right? Yeah, and of course, that's one of our schools, right? The other is the business orientation. And the third is the health sciences, health professions. Those are basically the 3 buckets that the students find their interest in. Those are the places they're going to find their feet in the various schools that we've developed. So there's an interesting overlap between the curriculum, of course, in Northland and what's happening at Beloit. And then you just welcome them. Linda, what we found is their major concern was, will I be welcomed? Will I find my home at Beloit College? And I can tell you, Linda, that's what we're really good at, is doing that, right?
Yeah. Kevin, How we doing for time? I wanted to ask a question of you. I don't know, Kevin, if it's okay.
Go ahead. Go one more. I'm
but
over here
since-
monitoring.
Where are you? Right in front of Middle College there. Okay. Yes, and I'm going to go into Chapin, but there's no more food anymore.
No more food. Nope. You gotta come to the Powerhouse for that.
Since we have alumni listening right now, could you speak maybe directly to them? I mean, how do you see their role in helping you and other people in the institution, in Beloit, shaping the future and the present?
Yeah, no, I agree. So, Linda, you did mention like the Beloit plan and the field term. I mean, in some way, what we got developing right now is the Beloit plan 2.0, but for a current audience, right? It really is a pragmatic, practical liberal arts. I mean, that's what Beloit's, this is why I came to Beloit. It had that edge to it. It wanted to put the wheels on the ground and try this vehicle out before you graduate, which is brilliant, right? And so I think that's what people are asking for. So there's a way in which come back to campus, Linda, come back to reunions, come back and do the boarding class, come back and get proximate to the campus, come back and see the campus that you will recognize. Maybe the Powerhouse might be new for some people, or at least a renovated Powerhouse. Come back and experience the campus, get close to the students. I want alumni to recognize that there's a strange, uncanny feeling of sameness, even in the midst of us stretching and developing at the edges of small liberal arts. I mean, we're really out in front for small liberal arts right now, thinking of this pragmatic way. So come back, get to know the place again, and then invest in the place. And that investment, of course, today is the day before Giving Day, right? So I think that was planned, right, Linda? Was it?
Bizarre synchronicity, huh?
Yeah, it's strange. I hear strange music in the background.
Yeah. So give back to the college. Get involved in investing in the future of Beloit. And by investing, I mean investing in the programs, right? If you're really interested in something like Impact Beloit, which is placing students right in the community, fellowships, year-long fellowships and internships, get involved in that. Support those kinds of efforts. And at the same time, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for alumni with certain kinds of expertise and certain kinds of experience to come back and mentor or to help our students find their way from college out into their careers. And Linda, what's going on now is that we need a trajectory that brings people not only to their fifth job, because they'll get to their fifth job eventually, but we need to show them, here's the first place to land. Here's the first place to start. And so alumni can be very important, right, in showing and helping students find their feet after graduation. So those are the three ways, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd really like to encourage anyone listening to volunteer, get connected. We're having Beloiter Unites events all over. I even had some people in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. So nice. Who knew? But we have a lot of actually Northeasterners from my era.
Yes, so that's right. It's a big draw back then, right?
So,
or very recently, I should say, sir.
Yeah. Kevin?
I tell you what, this is great. And Linda, thank you. Eric, every time you say something, I have 5 questions for it, right? And we talk hours, every time we do talk. It really is not, the new things at Beloit are sometimes perceived, we're all melancholic at some level, and we love the things that were, and people inherently don't like change. And, there's something that speaks to the sensitivity, but I think you have to talk about the sensibility because Beloit College is a business, as we all recognize and respect.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about the whole dynamic of downtown, if you could, and what that means to the college and for new students, because in a competitive arena, a lot of what's going on in Beloit is really starting to turn a little bit of the dial in that environment.
Yeah. So, real quick. So Jake, the new head women's hockey coach, has been down to campus a number of times. He says, "Oh my goodness, this is so easy to recruit down here." Versus Ashland, right? We're on the shores of Lake Superior. So you have this amazing town that really is experiencing the Renaissance. You have 20 million people in the arc from Milwaukee, Madison, Beloit, Chicago, right, that we can access. And here's one of the things that is happening for colleges, that students want to go to a more dynamic metropolitan area. A lot of small liberal arts institutions were built out in the countryside, intended to be out in rural situations. You go there, you sequester yourself, you're not distracted by the world, you dig deep and then you leave, right? So Beloit is uniquely positioned, right, to take advantage of its location in ways that it probably couldn't take advantage of 20 years ago, even 15 years ago. So putting roots deep down into the soil right now, I mean, the amount of possibilities through Impact Beloit that students have right here in the city, walking distance, but then a little bit of a drive, but then even the summertime activities right in this area is a really interesting way to demonstrate to the city of Beloit that the college is actually one of the beating hearts, one of the lifelines of the city itself. And that kind of working together, man, that's gratifying. It's gratifying to see that this exchange happens both ways. The library was renovated with a $9 million grant from the state of Wisconsin Neighborhood Investment Fund. It could only be used for capital, so we could only renovate. But the intention of the grant was to mitigate the ongoing effects of COVID on the community. So in the first floor of the library, we put Impact Beloit. There's a whole north-facing entrance on the north side of the library that welcomes community into the library space. They can actually sit down with their students. They actually have space. That kind of interaction, man, it puts the hair on my neck on end, thinking about the kinds of experiences students have. But Kevin, it also is something we're marketing the heck out of. Come to a place, right, where you're outside of it, the classroom experiences are going to be integrated into a community that's really going to be able to support you and support your learning.
And we're in the community too. I mean, Celeb has been there for going on 3 decades now. The arts department, everything that's moving downtown, in and around downtown, there's an absolute powerful interface with the downtown community now. And it's also a vibrant, thriving commercial district, which many of our alumni would just not recognize. Yep. And I think that if people can make it to Beloiter Days and Homecoming, was at around the 19th of September, just to see that, it is extraordinary. And it's a wonderful experience to go into downtown now. And you talk about it. I mean, it's like a nice small town that we all know Beloit as and for, but it has a very vibrant and, dare I say, upscale, but it's a really nice new energy downtown that is going all the way up and down the river now, from the powerhouse down through downtown. So it's very. I think
there's a real renaissance in the area, and Beloit is part and parcel of it.
That's right.
So we're
exploiting it and fomenting it. Yeah.
We just have a few minutes left, Eric, and there may be a couple more questions that come in. But I want to give you an opportunity just to say, we know this is about Giving Day, right? And I think that, later Tiffany's going to come on and she's going to talk about, we're looking at percentages of people. So it's not about, we want huge dollars, right? But it's about participation, because we know one of the metrics that is big in the world of giving and development is how many of your alumni participate. So it's important. Small donations are welcome, necessary. But that aside, and we've already talked about exciting things going on now, and we know you're a philosopher, therefore you must have a vision of some sort. So if you could, in these last several minutes here, talk to us about your 5-10-year vision for the college. What does that look like?
The vision question.
Yeah, no, I love it. So I do think that there's going to be about 25 to 50 small liberal arts colleges that are going to be fashioning a way of thinking about doing small liberal arts that's edgy, that has this practical, pragmatic kind of component to it, that's going to engage the community, that's going to think about stretching the curriculum in really interesting ways. And so at Beloit, schools is one of the things we're going to work with. I can tell you right now is that thinking about a transformational education means that we need to think about affordability and access. So one of the things we're doing locally, Kevin, that ties into the city is called the Beloit College Commitment, which we actually invite people from the 8 counties, which we haven't been recruiting very well, to experience a Beloit experience. Frankly, I've taken off my ascot and I've gone up to Blackhawk Tech, and we have robust connections and interactions with Blackhawk Tech. People who do an associate's degree in radiology, for instance, the president at Blackhawk Tech knows that that person really only takes flight in the career situation if they have a BA completion program attached to it. So there's ways in which we're going to team up with Blackhawk Tech, a technical college. You might say, geez, what's Beloit going to do? Well, we're going to expand horizons of all sorts of people. This is the kind of thinking I think that small liberal arts need to think about. Partnership and networking with places that maybe you hadn't thought of before. So Blackhawk Tech is one of those things. Of course, we have a BSN in nursing that's starting this May because of a partnership with Edgewood College, right? It would have taken us 5 or 6 years to develop that. And you know what? We don't have the practice to do that. We're not good at that. So let's think creatively about inviting Edgewood down. They're still our students. It's on our campus, right? It's an amazing way to actually generate liberal arts educated nurses for the region.
I've been so impressed with your identification of opportunities out there.
Yeah. And then I got the last one. So think about networking and partnering. And by the way, all these places want to partner with Beloit because we're Beloit. Not because we're somehow a different Beloit. It's because we are a small liberal arts institution that has a national and international footprint. That's why Tracy at Blackhawk Tech wants to talk to us, because we elevate, right, what they're able to do. Edgewood wants to work with us because, you know what, in the region, we're the place that we need to pay attention to. Here's the other thing is that I just signed an MOU. So is everyone sitting down? Okay, an MOU with Arizona State University. So a campus of 80,000 students versus a campus of 1,000 students. What could be the combination, the collaboration there? Well, you know what? Beloit College is going to have preferred pricing and pathways into professional and graduate programs at ASU online. So we talk about that as we're recruiting students. You want to come to a place that's intimate, that's focused, that you have this intimate relationship with your faculty and staff, and yet we have access to some of those online professional degrees at ASU are incredibly competitive, right? Access to those things online. It gets even more interesting. Certain online ASU courses will be opened up to our students to take during the semester that would count both towards a Beloit degree and towards a graduate degree to truncate time and expense for those kinds of degrees. This is the kind of thinking. Now, Michael Crow, who's the president of ASU, who has been there 22 years, has brought it from a party school to actually a legitimate educational institution. He's always thinking about scale. So here's the thing, Linda, you asked me about vision. Beloit will be, according to our partnership with ASU, the best first partner among small liberal arts institutions thinking this way. We have a 2-year pilot. So get this, a 2-year pilot in which we pay no money to ASU. A 2-year pilot in which we develop these kind of relationships. And then I go out to 25 of my president's buddies and ask them to join in this new kind of consortium of thinking about the stretched liberal arts, the ways in which we partner with people, both in our community, but also ways in which we stretch with national organizations that help us think about this is a place you got to come in order to find your bright future. So how is that, Linda? Is that kind of the stuff you're asking?
That's, I mean, I'm imagining the listeners are just thrilled with that news. That's exceptional. Congratulations.
Yeah. So in really, Eric, I think that this is one of the most, when you talk about groundbreaking, this is taking liberal arts. This is like liberal arts 3.0 plus, right? Because it really is, it gets away. And earlier I mentioned about the sensibility and the sensitivity of the liberal arts mindset. It's like, it's a good violation of what the paradigm of liberal arts is, because there is so much, and you and I have actually talked about it. My thoughts are there's so much sameness in the environment. You go across the board at a lot of these schools that are of similar nature to Beloit, and there's a lot of sameness. So how do you stand apart? And I know a couple people at ASU, as you're aware, and they also are known right now for their dynamism, right? What's going on at ASU is they're a leader right now. Their business school, a lot of their schools, I just received word from one of my insiders there that they are now starting a medical school.
That's right.
In Arizona State, wholly new conceptually. Their competitor down the street at the University of Arizona already has that. So they're doing this growth and development. And because we know it's not only small liberal arts schools that are fighting for a reduced demographic. The big state schools are suffering as well. The systems are suffering. So it's a great partnership. Congratulations on putting that together. I know it's going to be some really exciting stuff.
It's going to be interesting. So Linda, I'll try to make this really quick. So CIC, Council of Independent Colleges, is a group of about 400 colleges, all independent private colleges, right? And last year, about this time, there was a conference in San Diego. It was the ASU/GSV conference. It's about bringing technology into higher ed. And it's been around for about 20 years. Michael Crow started. There was a reception, a CIC reception for presidents from small independent colleges at this conference. And what I learned was that there's a small group of presidents that have been convened by the president of CIC to try to think creatively at scale for small colleges. President Crow was there at this event to kind of like wave his hand and say, well, if you're as creative and as smart as I am, maybe you can make this thing work. Good luck, people. So here's the thing, is that I knew I wasn't going to be invited into the internal circle of CIC presidents. I was 8 months on the job. Someone told me, an insider told me, like, Eric, we'd love to have you there, but you're just too young, right? So I went up to Michael Crow at that conference. And I told Michael, here's the 4 things. You got about 80% right, but here's the 4 things you're just missing about small words. You don't really understand the niche of the ecosystem. And he's looking at me like, who is this punk kid, right? That's how I started the partnership with ASU, was going straight up to Michael Crow. After doing that, the president of CIC a year ago or 6 weeks ago invited me to the internal circle of CIC presidents. And this past Friday, I was in DC at that meeting.
Fabulous.
I
jumped the turnstile, and then they gave me an annual pass to ride the subway for free.
Bravo.
Great.
And that's exciting. So that's our leadership. And that is why you should support the college. We are wrapping up our time here. It's 6:43. Once again, thank you so much, Linda. Thank you for being my partner in crime here. Eric,
fantastic.
We are grateful for everything you do. From the moment I connected with you at the then Econ Day, now Business Networking Summit, when you weren't even on the table for what you're doing now, but certainly you're the same guy. And I think a lot of people on campus, off campus, and around town really appreciate you for your energy, your passion, and your thoughtful leadership. So any last words you have before we bid you adieu for the night?
If I have energy and passion for this place, I just am simply a mirror for what I find in the alumni, right? I mean, I can't tell you the kind of energy I draw from all of you out there, right? The love of this place. It's a really great place. The bones are tremendous. Let's take those bones and articulate them in ways that actually resonate. And I just get so much energy from the alumni to think about that future going forward for Beloit. And that's what inspires me. My dad is an academic for 40 years. And he said, Eric, you're going to become president. You could go around and ask people for money. That sounds like the worst job ever. No, Dad, I get to go around the country telling the story of Beloit to people that love and remember it, and then bask in the warmth of that conversation.
And you're creating an exciting new chapter for that story, as Kevin has pointed out. So thank you so much. Kevin, you want to maybe
So Eric, thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
Eric.
Certainly look forward to seeing you on the weekend of the 19th in September for Beloiter Days and Homecoming. So thanks again.
Sounds fantastic. Look forward to it.
All right, man. Be well.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
So, Linda, thanks again. Folks, thanks for hanging in there with us through the great conversation with President Boynton. We're going to turn it over now to the school leadership. We talk about the new schools, and Lino and Phil are going to have a conversation with all the school chairs. So there's Phil Kramer and Lirio. I'm sorry, I said Lino. Many of you knew her as new at school. And we'll look forward to some great information. Listen close. It's going to move pretty quick here. But I bid you all adieu. Look forward to seeing you on the weekend of the 19th of September. And go Bucks.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, I knew who you were talking about, although it did take me by surprise because I'm not used to my new name either. But hi and aloha, everyone. Great to see you. We have our next segment here with our heads of the schools. And I've got Phil, my co-conspirator here. Say hi, Phil.
Hello.
And I've got two, maybe three of the schools directors here. Hi, we've got Professor Doherty from Global and Public Service. We've got Professor Perry from Environmental Studies. We've got, let's see, Professor Bergstrom, Health Sciences, and Professor Khan from Business. Great. Well, hello. And we're so excited to have this next segment here with you. You know, I'm very interested to hear from you. We're sort of talking with Eric about the unique and interesting ways that Beloit is doing maybe new things, maybe some old things in a new way. And I think the schools are very exciting to us alumni. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And my first question is actually about, I wanted to ask you, what are you excited about? So the way we're going to do this is because there are so many of us on the screen here, Phil and I are going to alternate questions to the panel, to all of you. So, you know, if you want to answer a question, just go for it and answer it. And then the next person can answer it. And if no one else wants to answer it, then send it back to us and we'll go for it. Okay. And we'll go on to the next one. So the main thing I want to ask you is, what are you excited about? Give us a headline, if you will. So I'll ask Professor Doherty to kick us off here.
Hi, everybody. I apologize for my voice. I have bronchitis, so I hope I can actually not cough during this. But I would say right now, we're really excited about the fact that Beloit College has joined the Wisconsin Institute for Peace and Conflict Studies. We'll be taking a group of students, faculty, and staff to the annual conference in Milwaukee in April. We're also really pleased that we're going to begin working with the group of faculty and students who are doing the Transformative Justice Initiative on campus. And we're planning a series of events in April for Genocide Awareness and Prevention Month. So we've got lots of cool stuff happening involving students, faculty, and staff. I'll let someone else talk about their school.
Wonderful. And I should say before we carry on that we also have Professor Bookman here from Media Studies. So welcome. Sorry, I didn't see you there. My screen has sort of shrunk down. So it's kind of hard to see people, you know, like if it's not a real room, you know what I mean?
All things are good. It's good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So please, who wants to go next and just jump right in?
Yes.
Please.
So I think I want to talk about how excited I've been excited, but I will talk about how excited the students have been. So ever since we launched the business school, the business curriculum, the students are just so happy. The only complaint I ever heard was from the seniors who said, "Why didn't you do this earlier?" Because they are on the way out. But students overall, they are very happy and excited about all the new offerings, not just in terms of the courses, the majors and the minors, but also all the extra career programming, networking that we do for them now. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Professor Bergman, is there something you'd like to tell us? Yep, go for it.
Oh, is this Rachel or me? Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Rachel.
Yeah.
It sounds so similar. Bookman, Bergman, yes.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm so sorry. Yes.
Yeah, it's all nursing all the time right now in the School of Health Sciences. We're less than 2 months away now from our first students starting nursing. And I would echo what Zip was saying about students are really excited about this. They're excited about all the opportunities. And in the School of Health Sciences, they're also saying, I'm sad that I'm going to miss out on this. The seniors and the juniors are saying, you know, this is great. And why didn't you do it when I started? So very exciting.
Wonderful. And do you want to follow that up, Professor Bookman?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I'm actually standing in for Colin Murphy, who's the director of SOMA. But as the chair of media studies, I'm very much involved in all the things happening in the development of the new school. And some of the things that we're really excited about in our program right now include continuing work on this generous arts and technology grant that we've been hard at work on for the last several years. It's been brought in a lot of new equipment and resources and visiting artists and training for faculty to kind of infuse arts across the curriculum and engage students in a lot of new, exciting learning possibilities. We had some really great visiting artists on campus this past week, and we are just moving forward on a variety of different creative projects that are all super exciting. Also, we are continuing the build out of the Hendricks Center for the Arts. And it's been a kind of a long journey getting things up and running, but we're making really good progress. And right now we're in a kind of second push to move forward on building the new media studies production area on the second floor of Hendricks, which will hopefully become a vibrant, buzzing hive of activity by the fall. Finally, I'll say I'm really excited to continue working with Zip and others in the business school to push forward the new marketing minor and just nourish the interest in marketing that is very, very real at the college. And we have several new courses on the books that we're hoping to continue into the future, and are working with students to develop marketing skills in other classes as well. So yeah, I'll leave it there.
Wow, that is exciting to see that business arts partnership. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. And my most favorite, of course, environmental studies.
So I am Tanya Carey, and I'm also filling in this evening for Jay Zambito, who is the director of the school. I think actually something I have to say is the most exciting thing right now maybe is that Jay and his wife just welcomed a new baby, which is why Jay is not with us right now. But as a school, we are really excited about getting our students engaged in professional development activities. And so we've done a lot of work on building a professional development program that students are engaging in almost on a seemingly weekly or biweekly basis, and helping them think about different opportunities. We also are excited. We have 3 faculty from Beloit who are going to be teaching courses at the Wilderness Field Station up in Ely, Minnesota this summer. So myself and Pablo and Taral and Chris Fink will be teaching up there this summer for our students to get kind of hands-on field experiences, which we are really excited about. And they can use that type of experience to become part of their certificate of completion. We have a lot of offerings around skills development for students that help them be career ready. And so we're building those out. And we're also excited in the fall, we're going to start supporting faculty development to think about different types of courses they might be able to develop that add to our selection of courses for the certificates of completion. So think analytical techniques. So if you're a science student, or if you're a student who's on the environmental studies side and you're like, I haven't taken a ton of chemistry, but I'd like to know how to do those analytical skills. We have a certificate of completion that students can take that give them some of those basic skills that they can then share with their future employers, and how they're going to apply those skills that they've learned. So we're going to continue building those out. I think the other really exciting thing that the school is doing is that it's really embraced the the ethos and excitement of being outside and exploring that the geology department has always had. And we're building in a lot of different field trip opportunities for our students. Later this spring, they're going to be students can go to Glacier Park and do some exploration there. And I think Jay's taking students to Puerto Rico in May. And so a lot of different fun opportunities for our students to learn in the field.
Wow, that is really exciting. We are looking forward to diving into all of these a little bit more with you in these next few minutes. And I'm gonna send this over to Phil. Just wanted to flag that there is a question here, though, that I think might be interesting for us to get to either right away or after you're done asking yours, Phil, which is, I have a question that says, to be honest, no alumni that I know in our 60s gets the schools. So that might be something for us to go back to thinking about. Okay, so I'm sending it over to you, Phil.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. I wanted to definitely thank you guys for coming on to explain the concept of the schools. For those of us on the call that may not be familiar with exactly how it's shaped the program now at Beloit. And I'm glad to hear about geology stepping forward. I love geology. It didn't love me, so I ended up a psychology and classics major. So my question is, probably have a little bit of thought. It's how do you envision your school shaping the academic experience for current and future students? So I'm not sure if that's someone, if you need to gestate for a minute on that. Rachel already knows, so I'll just let her jump in and go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think that one of the most important things about schools is it's really building on our history of preparing students really, really well for a wide variety of careers. So in the School of Health Sciences, we've had a really good track record of getting students into careers in healthcare. And this includes things like, of course, the obvious ones, med school and nursing. We've had a partnership with Johns Hopkins for decades, thanks to Marian Fass and her great partnerships and her great connections. And then we've been slowly building those partnership opportunities up, including things like a dual degree program with the Medical College of Wisconsin for an accelerated pharmacy degree. And so it's really exciting to then see partnerships like Edgewood coming together. Like I said, less than 2 months. I'm so excited about this. But also partnerships with Blackhawk to help our students gain more technical experience. So we've got students who are taking EMT certification right now as kind of a dual enrollment sort of plan that we've got that's building for other programs too. So I think that what I'm really excited about is to continue that deep the deep preparation that we give students for working in fields of healthcare where they are really well prepared in the STEM areas where they need to be, but where they also are now able to, in a different way than they might have before, articulate, I now have a medical humanities block on my transcript. And that is really helping me engage with my patients and my clients. And it's not that we weren't doing that before. It's giving them a little bit of a different language to do that. So I'm excited to continue this work. I'm excited. Again, I'm going to say it one more time. I'm excited for nursing, but I'm excited that this is just the beginning, and I'm really looking forward to more opportunities to get our students into the community, into internships, and into nursing.
Yeah, I think that's, before, I don't want to steal anyone's thunder, but I just remember when you're talking about the partnerships that are going on now with other universities. I mean, I might have been asleep at the wheel, but I do remember there was like a 3-2 engineering program with Washington University when I was in school, and there might have been something with Rush down in Chicago for nursing or something of that matter, but I don't remember on the breadth of like it's happening now. So I think those opportunities are definitely a big thing for Beloit in the future as a selling point, especially when they're trying to bring in students. Okay, sorry, Joe, did you have any comment on how you're shaping the academic experience for students?
Yeah, I think, following on the heels of what Rachel said, of course, we're all deeply invested in prepping students for career readiness in a more focused and intentional way than I think we have probably in the past. Even though it's always been there, it's now a focal point that everybody is working toward. And for students in media and the arts, it really means presenting students with like a wide array of possibilities and working with them individually to determine what their career interests look like and what it takes to get from point A to point B. And so it's helpful to have all of these students all in one place as we're trying to build community and trying to forge these advising relationships and help students move successfully down the path. I'll say, in terms of curriculum building, it's SOMA. The work happening now is really an extension of work that we began with the Arts Channel several years ago, where faculty across media studies and the arts started to work together much more closely than they had, sort of imagining ways of working our curricula together, interweaving certain elements of what we do, striving for more interdisciplinary productions and things of that nature. So now with PART and with media studies and SOMA, you have a group of faculty and a group of students who may have different artistic and creative interests, but who are really all part of one community in a way that just wasn't true before. I mean, when I arrived at the college, I was in the writing center for 7 years, and there you have the arts buildings, and you have the theater buildings, and you have people who are interested in these things but don't really know where to go to find a home. Right now, we're building up and building out the Hendricks Center of the Arts so that it is the place, it is the home, it is the school where all of these things can happen. And that means that dancers and theater people can work with filmmakers and musicians to create interdisciplinary art projects that just are more ambitious and in many cases more rewarding than people have been inclined to do in the past. So we're building these sorts of interdisciplinary ideas into our majors and into our individual classes. There's a lot of collaboration happening between faculty, and that encourages increased collaboration between our students as well.
Yeah, thank you. So I was thinking, it kind of prompted a question for me based on some of the older alumni that don't understand the concept of colleges. Maybe someone can shed light on, when you apply to Beloit now, are you applying directly to one of the colleges, or do you just get admission and then eventually work your way over to the colleges? I know I work at Florida State University, and my daughter went there, and I know when she applied, she was applying to the School of Theater Arts because that's what she wanted to do. So that's where her application went over to them, and they made the decision whether or not she was going to become a student at Florida State based on her application. I think you're on mute, Zip.
Yeah, Zip, you're.
Yeah, so I can take this one, this question. So no, students only apply to Beloit College. They're not going to apply to Beloit College and then apply to one of the schools. Now they will have to sign fill out a declaration card that kind of say, okay, I want to be a member of this school, and then their requirements, they have to attend this, they have to do that. But no, there isn't a separate application process to get into one of these schools. Did I get that right, Rachel and others?
Yeah, I do want to add again, because I can't stop talking about nursing. Nursing is the only exception to this, because we do have a guaranteed admission pathway for students who have a 3.5 high school unweighted GPA. And the nice thing about that, and we have a preferred admission for students who have a slightly lower high school GPA, but it really puts them on the pathway for the nursing program. It doesn't lock them in. But it gives them nursing, in 3 or 4 years, 4 or 5 years, and they know it's there when they're ready for it. But it doesn't mean that they have to go into nursing if they, of course, discover that they want to do the 3.2 engineering program.
Got it. Thanks. I was unaware there's unweighted GPAs anymore. I hear about people's GPAs and they're like, I got a 5.8. And I'm like, what? What is that? So it's just crazy because I have student interns and they're telling me what their GPA, I have this. And I'm like, I don't even
I
understand
didn't know
that
that was
anymore.
possible.
Yeah, how's that possible? Yeah. But all right, I'm going to pass it back over to Lirio. Thank you for answering those questions. And she has another one for you.
Yeah. So my question is, we've got so many alumni that are listening in and alumni that are around everywhere, Beloit College alums who are eager to help and excited about the schools. And I thought if we could just go around the room and chat a little bit about what you are thinking, how we could be engaged, how we could help you, how we could support the students and you as you bring these schools forward. So anything specific as well that you could put in other than just, being excited, which I'm sure everyone is. But if there are some specific efforts, and then I'll wrap it up with a little one of the efforts we're trying to help with as well. So let's see. Zip, do you want to go for it?
Yes. Because I do want to use this opportunity to reach out to alumni, put out some calls here. So, so once prospective students come and, we ask, okay, you are interested in business education. So why come to Beloit, which is a very small school, and not go to a big business school? So I tell them that we are never going to compete with the big business schools in terms of the wide variety of courses and majors and so on that they can offer. But we can offer you is personalized experience. Right. And so, but what is personalized experience? There are many ways we can do that at Beloit, but one way is to engage alumni. So for example, the business school has officially developed a network of career coaches. We call them career coaches, but they are alumni mentor. And I have had more than 60 alumni sign up to be officially in this network. But also we have many who are unofficially, mentoring students, even though they never say, but they are they're helping mentoring students. And the connections that we create, so we connect the students to alumni for career advising and mentorship. But because we understand and we know the students and the alums so well that the connections we make are very, very meaningful. Okay, so that is an example of how alumni can contribute and participate and engage if they would like. Now, another way they can do it is, we run every Friday. We have this Know Your Employer series. We invite employers to give talks, sometimes in person, sometimes virtually, about their company and the career opportunities that they have. So if there are alumni out there listening and you work for a company that have a good internship program, a good program for college graduates, just send me an email and we talk more.
And Zip, are these talks only in person or can they be on Zoom?
Oh, they can be on Zoom. Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Yes, thank you for that. Professor Georgie, do you want to talk a little bit about how you might engage alumni?
Sure. Many people that are working in the GPS school are incorporating alumni directly into their classes. So in the human rights advocacy course, for example, we have 6 or 7 alumni who get an hour's worth of class time. They explain to students their career path, how it connects to Beloit. And then the students have come prepared. They have readings assigned on whatever the expertise of the alumni is. They ask them questions. And this is very helpful for the students in first of all, just kind of imagining what their path looks like, but also they learn about career paths that they perhaps had never heard of. It also can help them say, ooh, that doesn't sound like something I want to do, right? So it's useful in getting them to make those connections. So being able to incorporate alumni into classes that way, in addition to the things that Zip was talking about, like asking alumni to serve as mentors, is super helpful. I'd also make the same pitch that Zip did, which is if you work for an organization that doesn't have an internship program, but might be able to take a Beloit College student in the summer as an intern, please do reach out. We have several students in the last couple of years that have been able to do something like this, thanks to connections that we made directly with alumni and the organizations that those alumni work for.
Thank you. Yes, I know that you're really good at bringing alumni into the classroom, and that interaction between alums and students is really valuable because, like you said, sometimes you don't even know the things you don't know, right? So that's something that opens up for both, actually, for alumni and students. So thank you for that. Did anybody else, Professor Bergstrom or Carrie?
I'll let Tanya go since I've been talking so much.
Yeah, Professor Carrie, please. Yeah.
I think for the most part, I would just second everything that has been said. Thinking honestly about ways that we can connect our students directly to our alumni is really the best and I think most robust and personal way we can really give our students insight into their potential career paths. One thing I wanted to add to the idea of summer internships is also just to let alumni know that, because this may not have been true when they were here, but we now have a formalized way of our students being able to earn credit for being in part of an internship. And so there's a component of reflection and considering and thinking about what they're learning during their internship process, and kind of taking the knowledge they've gained in their coursework and applying it to their internship, and vice versa. And I think that is a really powerful piece to that internship experience. And so just understanding that even some of those types of experiences can be useful through a student being able to earn credit to do something like that. The other thing I want to just point out here is we also have our Impact Beloit, which is our, going to be, we're hearing more and more about it, I'm sure soon, but we're building relationships with our community partners. And so it's a community-based learning program and getting our students out into these internships locally. So if we have alumni that are local and are interested in how they can connect with the college, going through and talking with folks at Impact Beloit can also be a really good way to start making those connections to the schools, that if you're not sure kind of where to start.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing up Impact Beloit. We are hoping to do as the alumni board, to do a pilot with them, especially in the cities of Chicago and Madison. So if there are alumni who are listening in and in these places and would like to help us with that initiative, we can, it's sort of a very mentored internship initiative, and faculty will be coming to you as well with that. So just be watching for that. I've got Professors Bergstrom and Bookman. Did you want to add anything in there about how you want to get alumni involved?
I don't have a huge amount to add. I think my colleagues have covered the main basis really, really well.
Yeah.
In terms of media and the arts and connecting students to alumni, just reminding everyone out there how many different kinds of students are coming through our programs and the diverse career paths that they're exploring. I'm teaching a capstone course right now, and there's 30 some media studies students in it. The range of interests include filmmaking, marketing, public relations, advertising, sports media, journalism. I have someone who's trying to go into location scouting. I have writers in this class, and all of them are trying to figure out, how to convert their interests into jobs. And if you've been out in the world a little while, we all know that there are myriad pathways to figuring this out, but it's very hard to see when you're 22 years old. So having people in our greater network who can have those conversations with our students and let them know, sort of give them concrete examples of what some of these scenarios look like, it is game changing in terms of charging their ambitions in particular ways. So I'll be teaching my capstone again in either a year or two. And if I had time to plan and integrate alumni into the course, it would really, I think, elevate the experience for students.
That would be fantastic. And I think we just have just one more minute, but I wanted to also put a pitch in for our Beloiter Days program that the Alumni Board has, which some of you have participated on, and thank you very much for that. It's called Beyond Board and Class. So it's sort of started with board members coming to Beloiter Days and faculty inviting them into class to actually either teach or talk about their careers or be on a panel. And then it's gone beyond the board. So we're beyond, board and class. So anyway, so hopefully you'll be hearing about that at your faculty meeting tomorrow. So I hope you'll sign up for that. We've got a list of 120 alumni that are interested. If there are other alums who are watching this who are interested, or of anyone, please let us know. Phil, I'm not giving you very much time to wrap up here, but I am going to punt it over to you to be able to say goodbye. Really want to say thank you to everybody for joining us today. So over to you, Phil.
Thank you, Lyra. And thank you very much for joining us today. Zip, I'm in the mentorship program. I had one of the students, we met a couple times. He was getting ready for a job interview and just going on experience. I've had a few job interviews in my past, so I thought I was a good choice for him. And he did pretty well, so he was very excited. He got what he wanted. So I think that's good. Any alumni on the call, that's a great opportunity to share what you have. I mean, I know programs existed like that when we were graduating, but I didn't take advantage of them, and I think it's great. And working in higher ed, any chance you can have to help the students try to get out there and navigate the murky world of life, it always helps. So I echo what Lirio said, thanking you for taking your time tonight to talk to us and talk to the alumni. And hopefully Lirio and I are the, managers of the board and class. So we hope to see all of you guys participating, and any alumni on the call that were interested, please reach out and we'll get you added and try to get you into a class. It was a great experience last year. So thank you very much. And I guess we'll shift it over to, back to Lucy.
Okay, now I'm not muted. Hi, everyone. We are going to shift a little bit and talk about athletics with a special mystery guest because David George is busy with baseball right now. And if you aren't aware, the Beloit baseball team has been pretty impressive. Was it last year they went to the Division III finals, I think? So he's busy with a game right now and unable to make it, but we have someone else who's coming on board to talk about athletics with two of my other board members. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves and bring them on the stage and turn it over to them. Thanks, guys, for coming, and we'd love to hear what you have to say about athletics and take it from here.
Kalaga, you want to start?
Yeah, Craig, I can take off. Good evening, everybody. I am Dr. Claygo Hips, a class of 2015. And as you can see from the letterman, former Beloit College athlete and alumni board member. Very happy to be here tonight to talk to Karen a little bit about what's going on with athletics at Beloit College.
And I'm Craig Wolgamuth. I am a class of 1988, not wearing my letter since it never got onto a jacket, but played collegiate tennis and just about every other recreational activity. I think I played every intramural sport, and a little bit of a curveball that we don't get, Dave. But Karen, happy to have you stand in and talk a little bit about athletics at Beloit. So, maybe to start out, we asked Eric earlier in the broadcast to just kind of do a state of the union of the college. Can you maybe talk about the state of athletics as it relates to the college? What's happening? We know about the Northland hockey stuff. That's probably the big headline, but what's happening with other athletics activities, and how do we, for those of us who've been gone for a while, how is athletics contributing to campus life and the community? Oh, we're not hearing Karen. There we go.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here tonight. I will also say it is one of my greatest pleasures to work alongside with Dave with athletics. It is just a joy for me, and he makes it easy. So what's going on in athletics? We'll get to the hockey stuff in a minute because that's the newest, latest, greatest. But women's flag football coming in next year. We are searching for a head coach right now. And if you're not in the greater Beloit area, if you were, you would see that Rockford University just had their first game recently. And so we are joining the ranks of other schools in the area that have women's flag football. And we're excited for that opportunity for female athletes who have another option at Beloit. We are adding a strength and conditioning coach. As you know, we're currently interviewing candidates for that. And because of an awesome fundraising campaign, we have 2 years of salary to contribute to that effort. And hopefully we can really bake that into the budget moving forward as our enrollment grows. So supporting all athletes and making sure that everyone's needs are met so that they can be as physically set to be as competitive as possible. I think what's been, and of course, a change in our head football coach, right? That if you haven't read your email lately, I know we're all drowning in email. Unfortunately, Ted Sankson has decided to step down. He is moving with his family to Georgia, and he is taking a teaching coaching position, and they're going to be living near her family. So it is at the secondary level. It's not at a college, and it's going to be a big change for him. Dave and I were at the meeting where he announced it to the team, and it was it was a moment for him that he was sad, and the players were super respectful. At that same meeting, we got to announce Kyle Langhoff, now our former assistant coach, named to head coach, and the players were psyched to see him. And what that means is that we have continuity and yet a new game plan. Kyle has different plans for his team than I think Ted did. You know, we'll see where he takes it from there. And also really excited about the strength and conditioning coach because it gives his athletes, a plan for the summer. So they've got all their returning athletes committed, and the newly committed students for fall 25 are all on board. So we continue to recruit for the incoming class. And then I suppose we round this out with hockey, right? That was a surprise landing for everyone, wasn't it? It just sort of landed in our lap, as it were. I think it's safe to say that Eric and I had many conversations last year, a number of us related to Northland's possible closure last year. And I've really wanted hockey here since the day I got to Beloit. I felt like it could be a really, really positive addition to our athletic offerings, and then bring in yet another type of student athlete who could enjoy Beloit from a competitive standpoint, but also in the classroom. Why not share it with as many as possible, right? And so the way that went was we had already talked about it for a long period of time, and we knew they were on fragile ground, so that when we found out this year that they were probably days away from closing, we circled the wagons, and I talked to Eric and said, you got to let me try. So he let me try. And within, I think, 10 minutes of me trying to call and sending an email, I had both coaches on the phone, and they were like, yes, let's talk about it. Let's come down. And they had multiple offers. Another school in Ohio that was looking for a startup hockey team, and, job offers for themselves just outside of coaching a startup team to go somewhere else. And Beloit came out on top. We stated our case for really wanting to sort of love on this team, right? Bring them in and just absorb them into Beloit. So we have said we're not erasing Northland, we're embracing Northland. So their students have been treated probably the best you could possibly imagine, with devastating circumstances for them with their school closing, not their choice. We've just onboarded them in the most seamless way that we could. So those are the biggest, newest developments really in athletics. Outside of that, it's gritty competition. Our lacrosse team's killing it. If you women's lacrosse, if you know Maya DeGeorge, that name sounds familiar. It is a niece of Dave's, and she is something on the lacrosse field. So lots of great successes out there. What else can I fill in for anyone?
Thank you for telling us about all the things that we should be excited about, right? Like there's a lot of recent developments. I think in addition to the news that Eric shared with the university partnerships, right? Just another way for Beloit to continue evolving with the times. So, you know, athletics is one of those things, though, the elephant in the room. D3 athletics doesn't always get the love that it should. So when we think about, you know, a school like Beloit that's very heavy in the liberal arts mode of pedagogy, how do our athletes pick up the leadership and the skills that they also pick up in the classroom through athletics, through how Beloit really fosters this on campus?
It's a great question. Great point. So my favorite of all time is Division III athletics. I have said many, many times that you won't catch me working at a D1 school. I'm happy for those athletes to have the experience they have in the way that they want it. But you're right. The way athletics works in a D3 program is completely different. Expectations of D3 athletes is different, and they are expected to truly be a student athlete. And NCAA has different requirements for them too. Like there is a component that requires them to be positive in the community. Our football team gives back with Boys and Girls Club, right? Like there are things our athletes do to contribute. So they also contribute to our overall environment. I know when I sat with Kyle as he was interviewing for the head coach's job, he was talking about making sure that the football team goes to things, that they go to a show to show their fellow students that they support the production they're putting on. In terms of athletics and leadership qualities, being a part of a team, making sure that you're competing toward a common goal, helping somebody overcome a skill that they haven't been able to nail down, or when it's someone else's rough day as a teammate, you can help stand them up. The values, the skills, the attributes you get from team competition at the collegiate level, I just think can't be compared to anything else. And in a D3 program, your coaches aren't worried about sponsors bringing in $5 or $10 million or your TV contract, right? They're sitting with you to say, how was that exam last week? And what else can I do for you to help you feel more supported in this environment?
That's great. I know we're going to be amending the agenda just a little bit, and I think we're going to be wrapping up the athletic discussion pretty quickly. But maybe as we leave, since we're talking to alumni, what's your message to alumni? How can we help? How can we get involved? What do you need from us?
Yeah, always a great question. And you know, the council has been really supportive of athletics. I think the athletic day of giving last year in the fall was absolutely phenomenal. We'll have one again in the fall semester. I think alumni being part of the organization, cheering our athletes on, supporting our message. I think sharing our message on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're at, when you see something good, share that out. It really, really does help. The more, this is my marketing hat now, the more engagement we get with the things that get put out there, the more exposure the institution has. The more exposure the institution has, the greater likelihood we have of enrollment and recruiting success. So, and then that helps the athletic department and the coaches recruit the athletes they really want to be part of a good culture, part of their team, and success.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like the state of the union from an athletics perspective is strong, and look forward to continuing to hear great things as we have a number of changes happening, but also some strength to ride on. So that's awesome.
Great.
Well, thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Karen.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Lucy, are you coming back to
I'm
help?
here. I'm back.
Awesome.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to put Karen. There we go. Wow, maybe we can do it like this. That's a little bit better, isn't it? That layout there. So for those of you we're going to transition to a little bit about the Alumni Advisory Board and what we do. And I'd like my fellow board members here to kind of jump in and share what the experience has been like for them. But I'll start. So one of the things that I really love about our group is that we are spread out all over the country and all over the world. There are about, 25 of us or so. And we meet once a month and we help out with different things. Like in the past, we've written note cards to incoming freshmen who haven't quite accepted Beloit yet. They've been accepted, but they haven't committed yet. We have helped out at graduation, giving out mugs to new alumni, lots of different things. And we are trying to bridge the connections between the college and our alumni body and try to kind of get people excited about Beloit. And there are a couple of places where you can find us. One is a lot of us are active in Facebook, and there's a Facebook alumni group that we are in. We also have a WhatsApp group, and I'm going to put the link in the chat for you in a second. And you can join that and be kind of on call to help out with different volunteer initiatives and that sort of thing. Craig, can you and Clago, can you talk a little bit about what your experience has been and what you like about the board? And our next, before I end, our next time to recruit new board members will be next fall. So keep your eye out for an announcement about that.
Yeah, I'm happy to start and give my short term of experience. I think it's been going on a year that I've been involved in the board. And I think, Lucy, you really hit it on the head, which is to maintain the connection between the alumni community and the school, whether that's simple awareness and engagement, whether that's fundraising, which is obviously part of the theme of this call and tomorrow's Day of Giving. But I love the ability or the idea of us providing that connection to find volunteers, recruit mentors, recruit people to be part of, beyond board activities. I think creating a dynamic relationship between the alumni and current students only supports the students and the reputation of the school. And I think the other side of it is it's kind of fun to re-engage with Beloit with some, folks like Lucy and Phil, who I knew at school, and Linda and Callego and others who, I haven't met, but it's great to experience that common bond of what Beloit means to all of us. So I've had a great time so far. Looking forward to continuing my involvement and continuing to be an outlook and an outreach for my personal network of Beloit alums, as well as welcoming others into the fray.
I just want to echo what's already been said, man. The opportunity to give back is one that I've really appreciated. My time has been a little touch and go, a little hot and cold. I started on the board about 5 years ago. At the same time, I started my doctoral program. And so I could come to meetings, but then I couldn't really come to meetings because I was writing, doing the whole song and dance. And then once I got to the end of my program, I had a newborn. So I've been able to contribute in with the capacity that I've had. But one of the memories that really sticks out for me was within that first year of me being on the board, we were doing a Beloit career accelerator program. We were matching folks in different schools or different professional interests with mentors. And I remember my mentor, Dragon. They were just getting into education on the West Coast. They were going through TFA. I've been in teacher preparation for the last decade now. And it was just really good to be able to give back in that capacity. Because I'm such a young alumni compared to some of my peers on the board, I can't always give money. That's not something that I have a lot on hand, and I chose education. So my folks in education know money's not something they give us. They don't give us a lot of that. But I always have time. And that opportunity to give my time and my expertise to a new teacher who can never have too much advice and guidance as they head into this career will always stick out to me, and is one of the things that I really appreciate. On top of the meetings and the chance to really powwow with some of the alumni from years gone. That's the thing that keeps me coming back, to be able to come back to my alma mater, and let folks know that the liberal arts is not dead. It is one of those things that is underappreciated, but once you get it, it's yours. We used to say at Sigma Chi that this is one of those experiences that on the inside looking out, it's hard to explain. And for the outside looking in, it's hard for them to really understand. You really have to be a Beloiter to understand everything that this college has to offer, and continues to offer for those that complete.
And as Linda said in the comments, she's also, I'm going to put up her comment here right now. And sorry, that's blocking you out, Craig. But she can speak to her experience on the board too. And I think my favorite thing, as evidenced in the last Beloiters Unite that we did on Sunday, was meeting all sorts of Beloiters, not just from the 4 or 5 years that I was at Beloit, but across the gamut. And, I think we had from 1968 to 2021 represented at our gathering for Beloiters Unite. And hopefully next year we're going to do more of those, and in different parts of the country. So stay tuned if you weren't near one this year. So that's another opportunity to get involved. Also, you may want to take a look at Beloiter Days in September. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and save the date and come for that. You don't have to be part of a reunion class. There are tons of people that come back regardless. I know people that come back every year and tailgate at the football game. And so that's another kind of fun way to come back and see the campus if you're relatively close. And also another thing that we do that we have not talked about, and Emily, if she's still there in the chat, can talk a little bit about this. We are responsible for finding alumni for an awards program. And we are in the process right now of selecting the awardees for this coming Beloiters Day. But that is like probably the most inspirational thing I've ever been to on campus, is the assembly where we give the awards out at Beloiter Days. There's usually a young Beloit alum award. There's another one that's kind of service oriented, that's not necessarily limited to Beloiters. It might be somebody working on campus. And then the reunion years have some awards too. So if you're in the class of like 1985, 2005, I'm not sure what other ones who are coming back, it will be your classmates being highlighted during this assembly in September. It's really inspirational. There's some amazing alums from across the years that you get to know a little bit by being part of this. So please think about people. You can nominate them anytime. The cycle right now is just wrapping up for this year, but you can put nominations in for whenever, and we look at ones that have been submitted in past years too. So we'd love to have your input and raise awareness of people in your class that you think have done, had a remarkable impact on the world. Anything else that we can think about, Craig and Kalago? Anything else that you think that is important for people to know about?
I think we've covered it pretty well. I think the bottom line is, thank you for the folks who've joined us tonight, and continue to carry on all the DNA of what Beloit has been and will continue to be.
Yeah. And to the one person that was talking about their child not being recruited, I just have to say that I think that, I think that the college is in a really good place where they're more intentional about things. And so it helps if you reach out too, so that their awareness can grow. So please make sure that you follow up with Tamara or anybody else on campus, because they're really eager to connect with you. And hopefully we'll do more of these live streams too, featuring different things that are going on at the campus. Maybe not for 2 hours, but we'd like to do more of these and reconnect with people so that they understand what's going on in campus and can get as excited as we are about what we're seeing. So thanks everyone for this. I'm going to turn it over to our next and final set of speakers, Tamara and Tiffany. Take it away.
Hey everybody, I'm Tamara Fouché, class of 2010, and I have with me our Vice President of Advancement and Alumni Engagement, brand new name for our department, Tiffany Cipollone. Say hi, Tiffany.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. It is great to be here this evening with everyone. I have so enjoyed watching the entire program and just want to first off say thank you to the amazing alumni board and Lucy for all of the effort that you've put into producing this and getting it off the ground. It's actually just amazing. And I also really quickly, Tamara, great job pointing out that when I took over as vice president, not even a month ago, one of the first things that I did was ask if we could add alumni engagement to the name of our department, because to me, I've been here a year now at the college, and that was really blatantly missing from any place on campus, people knowing where to go to just be engaged as alumni, not necessarily just fundraising. We are both and are excited to do that. So maybe we can go back to some of those comments we just heard here, Tamara, in a minute.
Yeah, so Tiffany, what can we look forward to tomorrow? I could probably answer this, but I want to hear from you.
Well, yes, you have. Tamara has been a rock star getting this day going. She's done this a few years. This is my second day of giving here at Beloit College. I was here, I think, maybe less than 48 hours last year when we did this event. It's not only my second day of giving, though. I've done these at 2 other institutions. And so I just want to say, the Beloiter events that have happened around the country have been fantastic. Thank you all that have been hosting those and attending them. And the excitement and the build up for tomorrow is palpable. And we have the advantage, Tamara and I, of being able to see behind the scenes. So we already know people have been making their gifts ahead of tomorrow. And this is something new. We haven't opened the giving page website early before, and I can say, Tamara, do you think pretty successful?
I would say worth it. Worth it. Thanks, everyone.
So we are thrilled and can't wait for midnight when it goes live, but who's counting? Only a few hours away, because I think everybody's going to be really excited when they wake up in the morning and they see the numbers that are already out there. So that's happening. There are, Tamara has done an amazing job having some live events ready to go for tomorrow. Tamara, you want to talk about those live events?
Yeah, so everyone who, I was looking at the chat. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so tomorrow, check out social media like on Facebook, LinkedIn, on the Give Campus page itself, all of our Beloit College channels, basically, because there are going to be videos all day long featuring students and faculty talking about everything you heard tonight. So talking about schools, talking about athletics, talking about just all the good things happening on campus, Impact Beloit. So it's really exciting. It was really great to meet up with all the different students, and I'll be doing some lives too. So, you got to catch them when they're on. So you gotta keep up with us, because we're just cranking them out. And it's really exciting. And I feel like there's really great energy and people are really excited. And just like Lucy's saying in the chat, you can become an advocate. So one way to do that is if you go to, just like the link on the ticker that's across your screen, it says make an impact, beloit.edu/giving day. Then you will go ahead and see our page. You can see exactly what's happening, all of the matches and challenges that you can participate in. We have a lot of great matches and challenges, and I can go over those. But one thing that you can do is become an advocate and then share the link on your own Facebook, on your LinkedIn, tell your Beloit friends, because I know we all have our own different cliques and groups, and spread the word. And one thing that I think is cool is you can do a video. No one's done it yet, but I'm trying to get someone to do a video. So if that's you, let me know, because I want one. And yeah, what else? Oh, thank you for sharing the links in the chat.
Our goal for tomorrow, we set it at 1,000 donors, to hit $1,000 donors. And I think that is completely doable. I think last year our goal, I think we hit 850, something like that. And so we really hope to get 1,000 this year. And there's already several class challenges. So there's the class of 68, the class of 73, the class of 75, the class of 86, and the class of 14 have all already posted their challenges in their lives, so people can go on and be making gifts. The alumni board members from the 70s, we have to call them out tonight, of course, on this call. They have placed a challenge, and they're already at 98% fulfilled. So I think that's a challenge to other generations of alumni board members to also put their challenges out there and see how they can do. And so the members of the 70s alumni board, you've set a high bar.
Yeah, millennials, we have to get it together. We've got to beat the class of the 70s. I mean, really, we can do better, I think. Yeah. I'm just saying, I think we can do it.
And so another challenge that I wanted to talk about really tonight also, as we said earlier, I've heard many people say this already tonight, that every gift counts. And that is truly what this day is all about. And that's why we set a donor goal and not really a dollar goal. We, of course, have a dollar goal behind the scenes, but the donor goal is, $5 to $25, $500. That's what this day is all about. It's about building community, building excitement. And I always say, your gift is your vote of confidence in your alma mater. It's the thing that is telling the entire world, I believe in Beloit College. I believe in what's happening there today. And it helps to make a difference, right? So having, Kevin talked about it earlier, having participation, and that helps us when we're trying to get grants. People are looking at what's the participation rate here at Beloit College. And, nationally, philanthropy and participation rates at higher education have declined. And so we're trying to turn that around here at Beloit, and it's going to take us a while. But part of that goes back to what we were talking earlier about alumni engagement and different ways to be engaged. And you all have done a fantastic job in reaching out to your peers and getting them engaged. But there's another challenge that is happening that does have a little bit to do with money, and that is the Chapin Society. So another thing that I've heard was really robust at one time kind of went away, and we're slowly going to rebuild that. And so this is kind of a soft launch here with Day of Giving, in that we have a challenge from our board chair, Don Carson, and he will give $100,000 for every, he will match that 20 for people who give gifts of $2,500 or more, which is Chapin Society level gifts. And you will get your turtle pin. We have them. We're ready to send them out in the mail for everybody who gives their Chapin Society gift this year. So we're really excited about that.
There's so much activity, and I have to say those pins are gorgeous. If you don't have one, you may want to get one. It's elite Beloit swag. Someone at Beloiters. So we need to talk about that. But I do want to shout out that Beloiters Unites, we said earlier, you guys all hosted them around the country. I had a great time in DC and in Chicago. What a great way to just meet people from all different walks of life who are all Beloiters, right? We all have that in common. We're all lifelong learners. As we were exploring our Mongolian yurt at Park and Field, that was cute. Things like that. So honestly, I think this is a really fun year of building up that energy, and it just felt really good to have everyone kind of cheering on Beloit together basically all month. And we're going to culminate it with a big celebration tomorrow. And Tiffany, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about class agents or not, but I know, so there are a lot of us who have been class agents over the years. That program kind of went away years ago. I don't know. We might I don't know how to.
I'm learning, you know, a year into the position, and I came on as Chief Development Officer, Vice President just a month now. But one of the things that I've been traveling around the country, meeting with alumni and talking to them, and I've heard a lot about the class agent program. And we are looking here within our team, we have a small but mighty team, and we're looking on doing a little bit of restructuring so that we have a more robust alumni engagement team. And you all know, anybody who's been to Beloit Days or been on this campus knows Karen Mays. You know her smiling face, and she does a phenomenal job. And so Karen is really the face of alumni engagement, and her title will be Director of Alumni Engagement. And so we're looking to get a few other people on board to help Karen grow that program. And whether or not that becomes the rebirth, so to speak, of the class agent program or some variation of it is yet to be determined. But we definitely want to put more effort and focus into engaging alumni in different ways. And to the person who was speaking earlier about their child not being recruited, Karen Shadeen, who you just saw pinch hitting for Dave DeGeorge, Karen and I are working on a way in which we can start to recruit students, Razor's Edge, where we record all your information. But that also means our alumni have to tell us that they have children and how old their children are, so that we can grow that database and be sure that we're recruiting them, because we absolutely want to do that. So that's in the works as well.
Yeah, there's so much that we can do and we will do with the help of our community. As you all know, Beloit is about community. When you think about Beloit, you think about your classmates, faculty, staff. Like, we all have these great relationships all over the place and with each other. And we honestly would not be here without you all. And so tomorrow really is a celebration of all of us and everything that we've accomplished. And we're sending our students off into a great future. And I think I'm really excited about the changes that we're making. And yes, Linda, Beloit's family, it's a community. We're growing in beautiful ways. So, we're keeping up with the future, and we're changing, and things are moving. We're moving.
Going back to, how all of you and everybody who's watching or tuning in, or maybe watches this recording tomorrow or at any time, tomorrow specifically, the thing that makes Days of Giving successful are people sharing. So I know Tamara touched on this earlier, but truly watching throughout the day, you'll be getting emails from us that'll be telling you where we're at, announcing new challenges that are dropping, but being able to just constantly repost that on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, wherever you are on social media. If you all are on Snapchat or whatever, I'm not on Snapchat. I tried. I didn't know how to do that. My son tells me I'm too old for that. But, just that's the thing that's really important, spreading the word and spreading that the good things that are happening also, because you will see tomorrow a lot of students. They're in all of our interviews that we're doing. And that's why we're all here, right? We have these jobs that we love here at the college because we want to make a difference in students' lives and change the future. And so that's why we're here. And we want you to be able to be excited and proud of what's happening here today at your alma mater. So watch those videos, reshare them wherever you can, and just reach out.
And I think that's it. I feel like we've covered it all. And so, you know what? Spread the joy, share, keep up, check your email tomorrow, log on to Facebook or YouTube or wherever, LinkedIn, wherever.
Yeah. And thank you. Thank you for everything that you do for your school. And we are just so appreciative of that.
Yep.
We couldn't do this day without you.
Exactly.
Yay! We made it.
We made it.
We actually finished a little early. I know, Tamara, you have a video you want to show everybody as our exit. I'm really pleased with how everything went. I'm pleased with how many people participated in the chat. Thank you, everyone. And we hope to see you at our next broadcast, whenever that is. Hopefully we'll do something again with Alumni Board to kind of keep everybody aware of what's going on.
Yep.
So without further ado, I will turn it over to you, Tamara, to take us home.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Adios.